Forbes India presents Interface Design Guild.
Hello and welcome to Forbes India presents Interface Design Guild. I'm Mridhu Bhandari. Today we decode a design movement that's reshaping how India works, lives and thinks. Biophilic design, the art and science of reconnecting built spaces with nature for sharper cognition, lower stress and elevated creativity. In a country where skyscrapers outpace trees and high-density living is the norm, biophilia is not just an aesthetic choice, it's a performance imperative. From daylighting strategies suited to Indian heat cycles, to materials that mimic nature's patterns, to retrofits that turn concrete boxes into well-being ecosystems, India is at an inflection point. Joining me today are two leaders who are helping shape this very future. Agradeep Mondal, Managing Director, India and SAARC at Interface Floor India, a global pioneer in sustainable and biophilic flooring innovations. And Siddharth Aryamane, Architect at Concept Concilio India, known for translating biophilic principles into high-impact, high-density Indian workplaces and residences. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And let's dive right into discussing biophilic design in the context of Indian spaces. So, Siddharth, if I may start with you. Now, we're sitting in the city of Mumbai. Space is a premium here. It's quite a luxury to have space in the first place. In this kind of a scenario, how do you really bring biophilic design into homes, into offices? What are the first, most impactful steps that you take? And how does that impact your choice of, let's say, materials or textures or products that you use?
So, space such as Mumbai, which is, very, space is a premium, it's a luxury. We really tend to, at Concept Concilio, we really tend to optimize the space planning in such a way that biophilia is always at the center. So, it begins in a commercial workspace, it begins a lot with the planning. So giving access to natural daylight to the users or to the open office is paramount. That is, say, step one in biophilia. Putting all your enclosed masses such as meeting rooms, cafeterias, stores, the center gives you ample of opportunity to play with the floor, play with the ceiling, play with the daylight. The first impression while entering any office is your reception backdrop or is the floor. So we try to play a lot with that in terms of, using a carpeted flooring or something that mimics nature. In residences, you have a lot of pockets where you can play with biophilia. There are a lot of underutilized spaces in residences, such as let's say the negative spaces below staircases are some areas where you can incorporate a lot of pottery, pebbles, even sculptures. You have a lot of residences that have these kind of pocket windows, which are kind of dead spaces. You can't really, use it as a balcony or so on. If these are located near a kitchen, you can make it into like a small culinary garden. So it's a great joy to, have tomatoes or strawberries grow and kind of pick it out and just use it for your meal, something which you do at your farmhouse. You have obviously balconies, which are a no-brainer for, interventions of green walls. You can have maybe a vertical organic garden in maybe all balconies, which is quite readily available, easy to maintain today. So these are all very, practical, no-brainer solutions that we always look at while designing workspaces or residences.
Very, very interesting. And Agradeep, I want to bring you into that conversation. One of the things that Siddharth mentioned was floors. And of course, Interface has for very long championed biophilic design. How do you bring something like that into something as basic as your flooring?
Interface, I would say we were the pioneers to bring in biophilia in carpet tiles. So Interface, as you know, we were the inventors of carpet tiles, and then gradually we moved on. We were the first company to bring in biophilia, which was at that point of time a luxury and more design oriented. But I think we have evolved and we have come now where it's an essential necessity now. On the floor, I think there's a huge scope on flooring where you have different we have different products which mimic the nature, And we have ranges like human nature, human connection, biosphere, which are liked. And I'm happy to say Concept is one of our designers whom we collaborate with, and we use a lot in the new workspaces. There's a lot of demand of the new growing age and new growing customers coming into India. As you started off by saying that I really like that where in India skyscrapers are going up, it is becoming dense. I think the need of the hour is to go for a biophilia.
So that when you pitch biophilic designs to a client, what are the KPIs? What are the outcomes that you are setting out to achieve with them? What is it that you track while implementing these designs? Give us some examples of, what has the outcome been like for delighted clients of yours?
So we've recently just completed a project in Chennai for a banking client. So the client, as per the ethos of the client, they were very high on sustainability. So that was a key goal from the point of view of design in terms of all the finishes and surfaces that you see. So we have a lot of these hero spaces in offices, such as this had a double-head reception. Then there were huge pantries or cafes per floor. So what we really track is that the happiness quotient of the user should really be affected or should increase by implementing biophilia. When we say biophilia, it's not just putting the potted plants or so on. It is a whole story. It is the access to daylight. It is obviously the plants that you can touch and feel. It is the surfaces which sometimes they can be natural or sometimes they may be man-made materials, but still have the textures and colors mimicking nature. You also have a lot of furniture, which by touching a wooden chair, you just you feel more comfortable sitting on it. And also another way which we like implementing biophilia is also through artwork. So artwork can be either digital or natural. That's another way, and we've really seen that in such spaces. After, particularly in this office in Chennai, the users were overjoyed. You could see those spaces being used more sometimes than the open office, so they gravitate towards the space. So that's how we, have been tracking these kind of implementations of biophilia in the open office.
Wonderful. And Agrideep, would you like to add to that?
Wherever we want to bring in biophilia, we generally, segment the spaces, and we collaborate with the designer and the customer to design. If it is a meeting room, it's a collaborative zone. If it is a passage, if it is a workspace, then what kind of products we use, what kind of colors we use, because in India, there's a high demand of color. And as Siddharth pointed out, that the customers are overjoyed. When we talk about biophilia, it is not only green; it is red. It is your sand, your different colors that we bring in to our products. Also, our carpets are textured that way. They are different pile heights to mimic the nature completely. So you have pebbles. If you see human nature, or you see our human connections, you will not be able to make out whether it's a carpet unless you touch it. These days, there are a lot of measures. Like there's a wealth certificate, there's a LEED certificate for sustainability. The wealth certificate is very important, which takes care of your employees' well-being, and especially after COVID, I would say that organizations have become more aware, and they are putting in more budget, I would say, in employee well-being and designing spaces more thoughtfully, and that's where the challenge for us equally is to, in fact, both of us to bring in products to meet the expectation of the customer and innovate more products and design with designers.
Right. And talking about products, let's talk about materials and the kind of innovation that's needed, particularly in the Indian context, because urban sites are very high density. So in terms of population, space is less. So what kind of innovative materials, textures, products do you turn to really create a space that offers the physiological benefits that perhaps going outdoors would offer you?
One very obvious choice is the carpet, which, as you mentioned, you have a wide range of textures that mimic the natural surfaces such as that of a cobblestone or that of kind of moss growing on a stone floor. So carpets have a lot of significance to us. What we're also exploring is a lot of textured surfaces. So in terms of wall claddings, you have a lot of different wall claddings or products that are coming out in the scope of laminates or veneers. So to mimic the texture of wood, there's a lot of also, let's say, live edge furniture is a huge part in office design. So a lot of live edge furniture, which is kind of unfinished, but gives that it's almost like using a tree bark for a table or a bar table or like a coffee table, like this one that we have. So it allows the user a lot of it just gives a lot more sensitivity to the design, and it's very functional as well. Another very experimental material we're looking at is using clay. So clay can be used in a lot of ways. You can, particularly using it in 3D printing.
Right.
So you can, experiment a lot with the shape, form, the kind of texture you want to develop. You can fire the clay and use it as a wall cladding, for example. Use it to kind of print your vases in which you can add trees. So having a lot of 3D printed clay partition walls give a lot of flexibility, and these subtle nuances really enhance the space in terms of having a very nature inspired approach.
Agrideep, you work with global R&D around well-being. So now tell us, how do you really adapt that research to India's climate, India's unique challenges, the cultural sensibilities that we have here, and which new products or flooring innovations excite you the most in terms of the Indian context?
Well, we have got lucky that we have got the wealth of research knowledge across the globe, and it's not only research; it's the usage. We have carpets placed in various countries, various workspaces where we get live data of as we talked about employee well-being and stuff like that. But to implement it, we actually in India do not import the idea. We actually collaborate with the designers to come up with a local solution. And because India is high demand market, and the topography of India is such, we have different colors at different regions. West has something which East does not have, and it's a very interesting thing. When I have visitors from US to India, and I explain them how India changes every 100 kilometers. You have a new language, you have a new color, you have a new everything changes. So yes, that's challenging for us, and we are innovating, and we give all these feedbacks to our product development team, who relentlessly work towards that in India and Asia. We are looking at bringing in products which matter to India, because India, as we all know, is now the way our GDP is growing. We are the attention now.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit, and let's focus a little bit on retrofits, a huge opportunity in India. Now, Siddharth, what are some of the biggest missteps that you've seen clients or potential clients do when it comes to attempting biophilic retrofits? What are some of the, do's and don'ts that you like to advise clients who are perhaps in a legacy structure and would like a little bit of an overhaul and adopt biophilia in their design?
So I would say with retrofits, we've actually recently done a project in Ballard Estate, which was a retrofit turned office. So I would say there needs to be a really careful study of the legacy of the structure, the structural stability, because with retrofits you have a lot of unknowns that go into it. The do's are definitely kind of having easy, practical biophilic installations such as potted plants, play more with surface finishing, than trying to kind of attach something to the structure, something that we always recommend to keep it easily maintainable, because all these legacy structures have have a long list of do's and don'ts within them. So particularly finishing is using natural materials for finishing is one do of it. What we advise to strongly not do is, have any suspensions to have a biophilic intervention, or not, it should not be really attached to the structure. It should be kind of mobile, easy to use, adaptable, and so on. So that is what we kind of kindly work with the client to recommend, in particularly legacy buildings and retrofit structures.
Right. And Agrideep, if you walk into a legacy building here in Mumbai, what are some of the surface level or flooring level interventions that can really help improve the biophilic design and without a major structural overhaul, without really breaking the bank?
Well, but in terms of if the legacy building is coming up with a workspace kind of scenario, I think carpet tiles per se is the best suited for doing up the flooring. Without any damage to the floor, you can just lay the carpets there and change the complete look of it. I think carpet tile, since it's a modular form, you can move around, you can change the design. Even after 2 years, if you don't like that particular design, or you are changing zones in a retrofit. Sometimes you decide that I'm keep my collaborative space this side, not in India also we talk about vastu.
Yeah.
So sometimes people come in and say that need to move this space there. So modularity of a carpet tile really comes to help. So you don't have to buy or rip off something and damage the structure. It's just you take out the carpet tiles, the modularity helps, and you just place it somewhere else. And exchange places or buy a new one for that lot and not damage this legacy structure that we have. I think that's where advantage of carpet tile is.
Now, while we are talking about biophilic design, this is not something that is very mainstream right now in India, right? It's still at a nascent stage when it comes to adoption. So, Siddharth, what's standing in the way of scaling this up? Are there cultural or behavioral challenges that you face when you deal with clients, especially clients, who perhaps come from legacy structures who have never heard of biophilic design? How do you really educate them, and give us some examples of where you could or could not change mindsets?
In India, this affinity to nature has always been there, particularly if you see all the ancient establishments like stepwells or palaces, they've always been with nature. So biophilia has always been ingrained in us, but due to this rapid urbanization, time constraints, cost factors, that's really one thing that has always kind of been like, I won't say obstacle, but it's always been in the way in terms of investing in biophilia would kind of increase the cost a bit. Also the maintenance, because since we do large offices, you have a lot of maintenance that goes into taking care of green wall or plants or so on. We've always tried to convince the client in terms of measurable improvements by showcasing them other projects where we've implemented this. All that may have an investment at the start, but in the long run it really helps attract talent, make the office more positive, more happy. So these are the steps in which we've tried to always convince the client. And I would say specifically after COVID, people have been at their homes, they've been closer to nature, they've been more relaxed, and clients and also the users of the space, they do want this as a given in any space, like be it a home or be it a office.
Right.
So it's kind of shifting that way. We should think about more innovative ways to do it. With you have a lot of technologies coming up in carpets and floors and ceilings. You have 3D printing coming up. So I would say it's changing a bit more now.
And how do you collaborate with architects like Siddharth to really ensure that a space is genuinely feeling more organic and not really ornamental when it comes to biophilic design?
Yeah, so when it comes to biophilic, the best thing, I think the first thing that we do is restraint. It is not that we have to put in everything there, and layer it up one after the other to make it biophilia. So I think the first collaboration that we do, as I said earlier too, that we collaborate and find out the zone it out, and what color theme, because there are many large offices as India is also, this is a knowledge, India is supposedly the back office for global now. So we have got large campuses You must have known all these software giants have their large campuses here. And here we are not talking about a small office of 100 square meter. We are talking about 100,000 square meter offices, which is a huge campus. So the challenge here is it's a huge challenge to maintain that seamless connectivity and the theme across. So we have our in-house designers who collaborate with designers like Concept, and we collaborate and initialize and show the presentation to the customer once it is approved. Cost here is a major factor because of these large offices, large campuses, as Siddharth rightly pointed out. And I just wanted to come in here saying that it is a challenge. Of course, it's a challenge for the manufacturers also to how to get in, products which are cost effective and biophilia in design.
By when do you see it becoming more affordable and hence becoming much more mainstream?
It has become. We have got products which are quite competitive, and I think it's being more used these days. Initially when 10 years back, people used to take carpet tiles which are linear form and simple one color form, but people are becoming more demanding. India is traveling. Global is coming to India, so the collaboration of taste and design is happening. It is not only interface and concept. It is global India traveling outside and global coming into India. And that I think that's a very nice juncture we are in, and I think we're the best time all of us, and we are evolving every day.
Right, absolutely. And looking at the future, will biophilic design become much more mainstream in the next couple of years? What's your thought on that? And what would it mean for how we should be building in the next decade? Because we are also at an inflection point when it comes to taking care of our planet. Sustainability is a key goal that every country should have, every organization, every home should have today, given the state of the environment that we are living in. So, what's your view on that? Will biophilia really play a huge role as far as the sustainability goals are concerned? And in the next decade, when we are looking at building for the future generations, how do you see the demand, and by when do you see this becoming a lot more mainstream than it is today?
So I'd say with current progress in you have things like AI coming up, you have a lot of tools that are developing. Biophilia definitely would become mainstream in the next let's say 5 to 7 years, if I have to give a ballpark figure. In terms of in the things in the future, you have 3D printing is one thing that I am closely following. It's quite a nice tool to have something that you can really optimize. It has very efficient use of material. There's very little wastage. So kind of you have a lot of in offices you have a lot of walls, for example. You have a lot of paneling. 3D printing can maybe you have a lot of furniture. Maybe every furniture piece can be 3D printed, having a sustainable material per se. You can print furnitures of recycled plastic completely, or recycled cork. So these are very these technology are very experimental right now, but I see it with AI having robotic manufacturing, where you don't even have a person using it. You have very efficient use of resources. I really think these technologies are going to just up the game of biophilia, enhance it more. And I really think in the next couple of years, we would need to design much more than having plants and finishes, having a full ecosystem of biophilia. Maybe where you can't distinguish between what's man-made and natural. Maybe that's where it's headed to, seeing the progress we are seeing in the world right now.
So finally, before I let you go, in one line each, what is the biggest why that, a homeowner or a commercial space owner should really chase when it comes to adopting biophilic design? What's the why? What's the purpose? Siddharth.
So I would say it'll just have a much more positive impact on you in the long run. So you should definitely go for it. It's all about, design is all about increasing the happiness quotient, and this is definitely at the center of it.
Increasing the happiness quotient. What would you like to add to?
I would say yes, increasing the happiness quotient and productivity. So for a commercial space, if you are investing on a biophilia floor, you have your employees happy. Your employees happy means it's a great place to work. They will be attached to you, and they'll be more energetic, and they'll be more productive.
Happiness, productivity, and lots more. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here on this special podcast. Really enjoyed the very valuable insights that both of you shared.
Thank you so much. I think thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Well, if India is to build spaces that sharpen our minds instead of draining them, biophilic design is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Today's conversation made one thing very clear: when nature enters our buildings, performance, well-being, and creativity follow. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, it's goodbye.
Forbes India presents Interface Design Guild.